Steve, what do you feel like went wrong in the second half after the competitive first half?
Well, I mean, they got every offensive rebound. That was the story of the game, and 24 offensive boards, and then we turn it over 20 times. There's no way you can win a game losing the possession battle like that. I mean, they got 15 more field goal attempts than us, and 19 more free throws. So just the lack of physicality. I was disappointed with the overall effort. It was not a game that we can repeat for sure. We've got to bring the juice, bring the energy, and bring the collective competitive spirit necessary to win a game.
We talked before the game about the trade talk. Do you think that atmosphere might have led to this performance?
Maybe. I don't know. I do think that, the NBA season is, it's 82 games, and you can almost feel the ebbs and flows. When you coach a team, when you're part of a group, you can almost predict when things are going to go well and when they're going to go poorly. Just overall health, mood, vibe. And so this was not a good vibe for us tonight. And doesn't matter, what the trade chatter is. I mean, it's everyone's job to come and bring the energy, bring the fight. It was the whole point of tonight. They're on a back-to-back. We haven't played in 3 days. We're going to come out and bring the juice. We're going to take the fight to them. And first 5 minutes, we had, guys turning it over, not running back, sulking. It's like, no. It's about competing. It's competing for 48, for 82 games. You have to establish that. And that's the most disappointing thing about tonight's game for me is I didn't feel that like I needed to feel it, like we need to feel it as a group.
Steve, to go off that, how do you change that going into Thursday's game? How do you make sure there's not a repeat of this kind of effort on Thursday?
That's their job, so that's what they have to do.
Steve, you mentioned over here, you mentioned effort, as in you didn't think they were putting out enough effort, and also was focus, you think, an issue?
Well, a lot of turnovers, a lot of just weird turnovers, didn't feel like most of them were forced, So it's one of those games where nothing went right, but when you're missing your best scorers, that's kind of what I'm talking about. You have to make up for that with a collective competitiveness, and you can't sulk. You can't feel sorry for yourself. I just thought I don't think it was like the effort, like they weren't trying. I think it was just I didn't sense a competitive spirit, and that has to change.
First half, you guys hung in there, though. And
Yeah.
then the second half, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, we came back. I didn't like the start of the game, and then we hung in there. We fought. It was a 3-point game at the half, I think, and we just couldn't score to start the second. I have to reevaluate the lineup. Obviously, that group to start the game and the second half couldn't score. So we won't start the same way next game. We've got to make some changes there, and there's a lot to assess. With Steph out, Jimmy out, we're going to have to sort through some of these combinations and rotations.
Pat Spencer's right at that 50-game limit. Have you guys? What have the conversations sort of been around that?
Well, he's aware. His agent's aware. We're aware. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes with the trade deadline and see what happens. But if there's no trade, then obviously he's out of games.
Guy, Steve seemed to be frustrated with the lack of competitive spirit. Can you feel that out there tonight?
Yeah, I would say that we could do better, for sure. Our team gave up 25 offensive rebounds. I don't think that we fighting enough, we should be playing harder. We should have been fighting more on the court. And The rest, making shots, all that gonna come. But I think the most important for us right now, we gotta keep fighting. Even sometimes we don't have staff, we don't have like, our main players out there. We gotta still fighting, and I don't think we did that tonight.
After a game like this, what do you sort of do as a team to rebound from this game? Like, are there things you guys talk about, or what sort of do you do?
I think we just talk about it. We watch film. I feel like we can talk about that every day, but we should start showing that on the court. Just talking about that, and that's the most important thing for me. Because you can talk about that, watch film, but if we don't go there, we don't go out there and play hard, and we hit somebody. If you see somebody going to offense rebound and we just let him grab it and like hit him and push him away, I think we just gotta start doing that, and that's most like important thing right now.
Do you think that lack of competitive spirit comes from not having Jimmy and Steph, or does it come from maybe the chatter and uncertainty about the trade deadline, or where do you think that is rooted?
It's hard to tough. It's hard to say. I think this is not from all the trade talk, all the all that. I think it's more we just gotta have that. Sometimes, of course, if you go to the game and you see, okay, we don't have Steph, it's kind of different. It's a different mentality because when you have Steph out there, it's way easier. Everything is way easier to do because everybody's so worried about him. So I think. Without Jimmy, Steph, of course, can be one of the factors, but I think that we cannot let that happen anyway.
Steve talked about you guys. It was tough for the first unit to score out there in the beginning of the game, and then to open the third quarter. Was Philly doing anything special to make it tough on you guys tonight, or where was the lack of offensive production coming from?
I think I start on defense. When we don't, we playing defense, they miss a layup and they grab the offensive rebound and they score. That make it harder for us go to the offense and score because we're not running. We don't have the momentum. So everybody, we cannot have what cannot happen now is like. They got the offense rebound. They finish. Everybody look now. Everybody that's cannot happen. So I think that was one of the factors that made us don't score well tonight.
Draymond, you mentioned a couple days ago when we asked you that you're not going to lose any sleep over trade talk, your name in it. But has it gotten a little wearing to you? Has it gotten something that maybe people bring up to you and you have to answer about, or anything that's kind of been maybe distracting to you?
No, it's not a distraction. Everybody do want to talk about it, but it doesn't wear on me. It just is what it is, I'd say over the last couple of days it's gotten more real to me, but it's not. It doesn't wear on me. I can't control it, so I don't worry about things I can't control.
What is it like knowing that it is a possibility?
It's a possibility that I might get traded. That's kind of just what it's like.
But as somebody who's, you built this with Steph and Clay.
Oh, yeah, but at some point it's going to come to an end. Whether that's a day or two or a year or two, it's going to come to an end at some point. You got to be okay with that. It's not something that I can hold on to forever because I can't play basketball forever. So it's got to come to an end at some point anyway.
How eager are you just for Thursday, though? Just, for some type of resolution in a sense?
Not at all. I'm not.
Post-deadline Thursday.
That would be me worrying about the deadline. I'm not worried about the deadline. So, yeah. I think if anything by Thursday, one way or another, people will stop asking me.
Yeah.
But
Steve said he's had a chat with you about
that's when it got real for me.
it. Yeah.
It's like, oh, maybe I should be a little more worried about this than I am. I didn't get worried about it, but I was like, okay, yeah, it's interesting. He was like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good, coach. You know, I know all these trade rumors and stuff. It's like, it's weird. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. And then he's like, how's Hazel handling it? And that's when it got real to me. I was like, I haven't spoke to her about it. It's not something we've spoke about. That's when it got real to me. So today on the way to the game, I spoke to my son about it. And I was like, yo, what if I get traded? It's like, well, why would they trade you? It's like, it's just the business. I've never been traded, but it can happen to anybody. And he was like, oh, I just don't understand why they would do that. So, you know, but yeah, prior to that,
So, I mean, you talked to Steve. I know the other night we talked to you, you still hadn't really talked to the front office. Have you at this point?
yeah, probably not quite the conversation y'all think it was, though, but
Anything you want to share?
no. But I will tell you, it's probably not quite the conversation you think.
Okay.
But yeah, I talk to them pretty often, though. So it's good. We'll see.
What is it like being in an emotionally heavy and uncertain place of wondering, do you have to say goodbye to teammates? Is it business as usual on Thursday? But just like the wonder of how the next couple hours, 48 hours will unfold.
You know, this is something I've never dealt with before, so I don't really have like some guidebook or manual to how it should be. So yeah, if there's a point where I need to say goodbye, I'll say goodbye. But I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I think. Yeah, it is business as usual. You know, come out, play, go home, come back tomorrow, fly, maybe. Play Thursday, maybe not. We'll see, you know. So it's business as usual for me, though. But, you know, I think a lot of people want to know, like, how I feel about it. Like, am I upset about it or, like, I'm not at all. Like, you know, I don't. If that's what's best for this organization, that's what's best for the organization. You know, I'm not like, oh, man, they f***ed me over or something like that. Like, I don't really feel that way. You know, if you would have told me 13 and a half years ago, like, yo, I'm going to hand you this sheet of paper and you can sign it to be in a place for 13 and a half years, would you sign it? And I would have signed it faster than you can blink. So what do I have to sit and worry about? What do I have to, like, be upset about? Like, I've been here for 13 and a half years. That's longer than probably 98% of NBA players have been in one place. And this guy from Saginaw has been in a place for 13 and a half years. I don't know that it ends at 13 and a half, but if it does, what a fucking run it's been. I'll take the fine for it. What a fucking run it's been. So that's just how I feel, you know. And I don't sleep well after games. So if I lose sleep tonight, I promise y'all it's not because I think I'm getting traded. I just don't really sleep well after a game. But yeah, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. You know, I'm grateful. You know, like I said, it's. My family has not had to move anywhere since I started my family, you know. That's incredible. I don't take that for granted. It's guys that have been on the move every year, moving their family 2-3 times in a year. So I have so much gratitude for where I am in my career, the run that I've been on here. And like I said, I don't know that it ends or whatnot. I don't. We'll all see. But if it does, it does, you know. All good things must come to an end at some point. And so, yeah, that's kind of my sentiment, you know, and how I feel.
Dre, there's a lot going on around this team. Obviously, and Jimmy goes down. You don't know when Steph will be back. You look around the locker room, and obviously the trade chatter is out there too. Did that affect the psyche of a team, you think?
It can, for sure. You know, I think for most guys it would, you know. Because you're just so uncertain. Like, you don't know, is this your last time taking the floor? Is this your last time being with this group of guys? Like, where you could be tomorrow, it definitely does. But we're not the only team dealing with that. You know, it's the trade deadline for 30 teams. And so that's just the nature of the NBA. You know, every year the trade deadline comes around, there's a little more movement than any other time in the league. And so, yeah, I think it definitely can affect the psyche of a team for sure. And I would understand why it would affect these guys differently than me. I've made my career. You know, like if I stop playing tomorrow, I've had a pretty good career, you know. There's a lot of guys in our locker room still trying to build a career. So I understand why they would look at it differently than I do. But I'm not trying to build a career anymore. I'm just trying to keep getting better, keep producing, keep playing at a high level. But if I stop tomorrow, what I've done is what I've done, you know, and it's a pretty decent resume, you know. And so I sympathize with them, you know, because I was once in year 6 and 5 and 4 and 3, you know, and I'm sure then my sentiment was different than it is now. But, like, in my 14th year, who I am is who I am. You know, maybe I can make another all-defensive team or something here and there, like, to keep adding to the resume. But, like, it is what it is, you know, and I'm not in career build mode no more. You know, I'm trying to sustain, get better, play well, and land the plane, you know, smoothly, you know, land the plane smoothly. And that's my goal. So, yeah, it affects the psyche for sure, and I understand why it would. But it's just a little different for me because I'm just at a little different place in my journey.
When you look at the fact that you've got the chatter going around, and also, again, you're without Steph. You don't know when he'll be back. Jimmy's down. What are the challenges to guess what I'm saying is to lock in knowing all this stuff is happening?
Yeah, well, we all get paid to do the job, you know, and unfortunately that doesn't quite do it. You got to have a will and a want to compete. And if I'm honest, I don't think we quite had that tonight, you know. And, you know, it could be deadline talk, but I think for me it makes me want to play harder, you know, like. But everybody's different, you know, like the same thing that make me tick may not make the next guy tick, you know, and so each guy's on their own journey and each guy handles things differently than the next guy, you know, and so regardless of what happened, we have to collectively compete at a high level if we want to win games. Whether Steph is in or Steph is out, Jimmy will be out. You have to have a certain level of competition that you have to bring to the game, to an NBA game, in order to have a possibility to win. And that don't change whether you're here, there tomorrow, or the next place. That's just what it is in the NBA. So regardless of who gets traded, who stays, that must remain. And we didn't have that tonight.
Draymond, to that point, you guys knew it would be difficult, obviously, when Jimmy went down. But now you've lost 5 out of 7. Beyond the numbers, how does it feel like you can go forward without him? I mean, tonight you guys obviously got pounded on the boards, only had 2 free throw attempts, which is something Jimmy provided. How do you feel about the short-term future here?
Well, I think we all knew that it would be tough without Jimmy. You get a lot smaller, a lot less athletic. Aside from all the obvious things that we know Jimmy brings, those 2 things that I just mentioned are as big as anything else that Jimmy brings to the table. His athleticism, he's still one of the elite athletes in the league. You you know, the size that he brings at the wing position, that is like still valued in the NBA, you know. And so we knew it would be tough. And then without Steph, you know, it gets a lot harder. But it's the hand we was dealt. And we're the Golden State Warriors. No one feels bad for us. Like, there's not a soul that feels sorry for us. So, you know, unfortunately for the young guys here, they get that it's not quite their fault. But it is what it is, and it's our situation. So, you know, guys got to understand that. We got to find a way to get to the free throw line, you know, and the ball moves makes that a little easier. You're playing against closeout and different things. But, yeah, I don't know how long Steph will be out. We know Jimmy will be out for a while. But regardless of when those guys play, we have to compete at a high level. And right now we're not really competing at a high level.
Draymond, in your 13 and a half, 14 years, you've seen a lot of guys come and go. You've never been a part of a trade, but you've seen a lot of guys come and go. So I guess what I want to know is, I know you're not worried, you're not going to lose any sleep over this, but just based off that conversation that you had with Coach, do you feel like you played your last game as a Warrior or in that jersey?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't foresee it that way. But if I have, like I said, it's been an amazing run. You know. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I don't sit and think about the possibilities or what may. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, regardless. And so that's just is what it is.
Did you take so much of time with EJ on the court afterwards?
Oh no, I was trying to give my wife attention. No, I was trying to get her attention, but my 5-year-old was over there acting a nut. I could see it. She was crying about something, so I couldn't get her attention. But no, I didn't.